Welcome back, guys. So today we're going to be talking about the units that you must have in Update 2 of All-Star Tower Defense X. There's a bunch of units added in this update, but unfortunately, there's only really 3 and 1 honorable mention that you should be obtaining. So without further ado, let's get this video started. Alright, so let's actually start with the honorable mention, which is going to be Crollo, which is the Unbound unit from Banner X, I believe. Yeah, Banner X is the Unbound unit for Crollo, which is a Hunter x Hunter character. Now, the reason why he isn't in the must-have category and, why he isn't like top 1 is because the units that are not in the Unbound category, the unit that is easiest to get in this update, literally the unit that is easiest to get in the update, is actually the strongest unit in this update as well, and I'll be explaining that in a bit. Crollo just seems to be so lackluster for how rare he is. He's a 0.01% unit, which means not everyone will get him, especially because of how hard gems are to obtain. On top of that, his ability is a one-time use only. He has a powerful nuke, which is part of the reason why I'm putting him here. He's one of the only nukes in the game, but it's a one-time use, which means you can only use it once. And that pretty much also means that you're gonna have to have All-Star on him to be able to maximize the ability of that nuke or the effects of that nuke. So super rare, must have All-Star on him to be super best. And with those reasons alone, I just will not be able to put Crollo that much higher, especially since the other units in this category is so much better. And then at number 3, we have Alligator. Again, not really a great unit. He's pretty expensive. Not even a heal unit, which, by the way, if you watch my tier list, flying units are starting to become a problem now due to the new map, which is actually pretty annoying. The new map is now starting to become a problem where you kind of want to have heal units now, otherwise they're cooked, or hybrid units, which there's only one of. And that is a big problem for ground units. Ground units, I just, honestly, I can't even bring ground units as much anymore. Because if I bring ground units, I'll be at a disadvantage against the flying units. So he does have pretty high DPS and he is pretty good. But unfortunately, he's a ground unit only and flying units are starting to become a problem. And the other 2 units in this list is just better in my opinion. But Alligator has, I think, the best DPS in this update. Specifically in this update. So yeah, that's why he's at number 3. Then at number 2, we're gonna have Ace, and I think I'll be showing him to you in Infinite, or rather I think in Challenges, which is the best place in my opinion to probably show it. We're gonna do it in City Vault Standing to make it slightly more difficult as well, and I'll show you how hard it is. Alright, we'll place down some farm units, and then we'll be placing down Ace. Now, if you watched my previous video on Ace a while ago, I said Ace was actually a pretty bad unit. And since I said that, they actually kind of buffed him. They actually kind of made him better. And now, he is a pretty powerful unit, which I'll be showing here. I have All-Star on him, but I think he's actually better without All-Star. He's pretty cheap, 1,531 with All-Star, so that means without All-Star, he's gonna become even cheaper than that. His AoE is now significantly big, like super big AoE right now. As you can see, his AoE is massive, and even in his future or following upgrades, his AoE will not decrease, which makes him really, really good. So I'll just upgrade my farms here. And then in a little bit, we'll also upgrade Spade. Also, mind you, he also does have Burn. So on top of the damage that he's doing right now, he will have Burn. And his SPA is pretty low, 3.2. Obviously, this is with All-Star. But his damage is good. He has capability for Burn. And his AoE is actually big now. The problem with him before was his AoE was super small. Like, it was genuinely 10% of the size of the AoE right now. It was super small AoE. And now it's actually really big. So, he's actually pretty usable now. And because of his burn and his range and everything else about him, he's pretty good. He's actually pretty good in most game modes now. And I would honestly put him pretty high into A tier, probably even close to being an S tier unit because his burn is really great. And I would probably even say that he's a more useful burn than Akainu simply because he is a heal unit while Akainu is only a ground unit. So yeah, he's very useful. Now his DPS is not that big, which might be a problem. I think at most his DPS is only like 8 to 10k. Maybe if I max him out, his DPS will be around 10, 11, 12k, which is pretty small, but also is cheap and he does burn. So pretty great unit here, and I think he's a must-have unit because there's not that many burn units that can actually also hit airs. So that's why he's a must-have. And yeah, as you guys can see, we beat this game mode pretty easily. And now we're gonna move on to the top 1 unit. Alright, so the top 1 unit is 100% going to be Kilawa. It's not even close how good Kilawa is. So let me just explain why I glazed Kilawa too much. So basically, this unit is full AoE. Yeah, you heard that right. Full AoE at max upgrade. But then you're probably gonna ask me, he's full AoE, so that probably means he's probably a ground unit right now. This unit is also a heal unit, which means he is the better type of unit. Hill units are significantly better than ground units, and this is mainly because the ground units are still a problem, but the flying units are now starting to become a problem as well, to where if you invest more in ground units, you're going to lose to the flying enemies. So that's why most people now start to bring more hill units than ground units, because ground units are, not as strong to where they can be beaten by the hill unit. So hill units are just significantly better, right? And take a look at the range they have right here. Take a look at the SPA, 1.17 SPA. Admittedly, the first two upgrades, they are single attack, but they're dirt cheap. They're dirt cheap to the point where, like, the first 2 upgrades are almost just basically free. It's super cheap, and their DPS is still pretty big. And look at how deal 10% of this unit's damage over 4 ticks, 2.5% per tick, which is stackable. And each tick stuns enemies for 0.5 seconds. So essentially, he also kind of is a support unit, right? He kind of is also a support unit with the stun. Now, it might not be as noticeable because he kills the enemies so quickly with his attack, but it actually does kind of help. Now, it slows down the enemies a little bit. Obviously, it's not as effective as a freeze, because a freeze is literally like 3 seconds, but 0.5 seconds is a lot because you can also apply freeze, like on top of that. Like if I place this unit down here, he could apply freeze to them, and then while applying freeze to them, he could immediately apply shock to them. But then also, you could also bring down a Blackbeard, and a Blackbeard could apply slow, and while applying slow, he could also be applying shock. So immediately a very powerful counter right there. And then if I upgrade him to his upgrade, second to the last upgrade, he becomes a full AoE unit. And at that point, it really is just wraps. Like, this genuinely might be the best unit in the entire game. Full AoE heal unit with the ability to stun enemies, albeit only for 0.5 seconds. And his AoE does kind of have a limit. He can only attack 35 enemies, which that really doesn't matter if, like, there's not even that many enemies. Like, all the, enemies that are coming out here, it's not even close to 35. So that 35 enemy limit doesn't even matter. And Kilawa is just absolutely insane. I know I'm glazing him a bit too much right now, but I think he deserves all the glaze, because he's not even close how good this unit is in comparison to literally everybody else. He's so good. Now his DPS at, I believe this is level 56 with skill 3 of damage is 3,691, and this is also with Genesis. But again, his DPS doesn't really matter all that much because it's full AoE. Even if a unit is less than, in terms of DPS, if it's a full AoE unit, it genuinely does not matter. It's still going to be better than a unit that has more DPS but is less of a has a worse AoE. Like, for example, Zeke is, in my opinion, have more DPS than him, but Zeke has a big weakness because obviously he can't attack inside that, whereas Kilawa can attack in his entire circle. So yeah, take a look at that, bro. Look at Pain getting stunned. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, Kilawa is just amazing. I think you absolutely have to get him if you want to be able to just steamroll everything. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this game. And well, yeah, that's pretty much it for the top 3 units and 1 honorable mention list. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.